So thank you everybody for being here. I'm going to introduce my co-speakers. Here we have Emmanuel Yebamji, who is the dietetics research coordinator at Thrive. Actually, let me let you introduce yourselves. My name is Chineye Mbojukwe. I am the head dietitian at Thrive. Emmanuel, you can go next.
Okay, Oyebamiji Emmanuel Anuluapo, a dietitian and dietetic research coordinator at Thrive.
Okay, right, Mercy, you can go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Efintoye Mercy Lois. I am a public health nutritionist and dietitian.
It's so nice to have everybody here. Our topic for today is belly fat and metabolic health and what a plate has to do with it. So we're going to start by understanding what belly fat is. Mr. Emmanuel, can you start us off with that, please?
Okay, with a layman language, what is belly fat? Like we do say, belly fat, it's when fat accumulates in the stomach region of the body system. And what causes this? This is accumulation of fats in the body system. So that's a layman understanding of layman language of what is referred to as belly fats. And this actually can be caused by different disease conditions, lifestyle, modification, diets, and can be hereditary. Thank you.
Are you saying belly fat can be hereditary? Can you hear me?
Yes, it can be.
I did not know that.
Yes, it can be hereditary. Depends on the genetic factor of the person.
I just learned something. Okay, thank you so much for that. Mercy, please, how would you explain that medically?
Okay, so when we talk about belly fat, we're talking about something they also call the medical term abdominal adiposity. And just like Mr. Emmanuel has said, this is just accumulation of fat around the abdominal region. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so medically, that's what it's about.
So what would you say contributes to belly fat besides genetics, like I've just learned?
Yeah, just like Mr. Emmanuel mentioned some part of it as well. It's something about dietary factors. So your diet, what you eat contributes to that, and also lifestyle factors, sedentary lifestyle, chronic stress levels, lack of sleep, all these things contribute to belly fat aside genetic factors.
Okay, thank you so much. So I've learned that, or I know rather, that there's visceral and subcutaneous fat, which is in the midriff, in the midsection of the stomach. What's the difference between visceral fat and subcutaneous fat?
Okay, so subcutaneous fat is that kind of fat that just, it sits beneath the skin. And so it's this soft, like this flap, sort of. It's soft, you can pinch it with your fingers, and it's usually less dangerous metabolically compared to the other kind of fat. So the second fat is visceral fat, and this fat can also be known as, they say thin outside, fat inside. So you can have a normal weight, or you can maybe be overweight and still look like you have a good body mass, but then there's fat inside and you don't know. that is fat. So it's more dangerous because compared to the other one, this one is even like metabolically active. It produces hormones, it produces inflammatory chemicals. And these inflammatory chemicals are related to a lot of these chronic diseases, non-communicable diseases we have today. So that kind of fat is very dangerous metabolically. That's the main difference, where they are stored, and also the one that is metabolically active.
That actually answered the next question I was going to ask. I was going to ask how it contributes to metabolic health. So it can be detrimental to the health. Visceral fat,
Yeah,
that is.
yeah, yeah. It produces hormones. Yeah, go
What
on.
kind of would you say that visceral fat can contribute to hormonal imbalance in the body?
Yes, yes, it can, because it produces hormones that disrupt the normal hormonal balance in the body. And these hormones that it's producing, they are not just normal hormones, they're inflammatory substances.
Yeah.
They're inflammatory chemicals that disrupt the normal metabolic process of the body. And we know that metabolic process is just how the body, uses energy, how it converts energy, how it converts food to glucose to energy and all those things. So when there is something that is producing inflammatory chemicals that disrupts that process, there's already a problem. There's already a problem. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Emmanuel, bouncing off of what Mercy has just said, that would mean that visceral fat, which we have now termed the more dangerous fat in the midriff section, it can contribute to health conditions like say insulin resistance. What else? What other health condition would this contribute to? So, Mr. Emmanuel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I asked, bouncing off of what Mercy said, visceral fat, how can it contribute to other health conditions? How does it contribute to other health conditions?
Yeah,
Insulin
like what she
resistance, for
said earlier.
example.
Like what she said earlier, visceral fats actually surround the internal organs,
Yeah.
such as liver, pancreas, intestine. And you know, when there is excessive visceral fat that which has a strong relationship with non-communicable diseases. And when this fat surrounds the liver, the pancreas, and the intestine, it actually prevents the hormones in which these enzymes, these internal organs are to produce. It reduces the activity of the hormones. It makes those organs to shred themselves in order to present or to provide the necessary hormones needed by the body. The funniest thing, this posterior fat is actually strong association with some disease condition like type 2 diabetes, we have hypertension, we have cardiovascular diseases, we have metabolic disorder in which PCOS is among, we have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And when we are talking about this non-alcoholic liver fatty disease, this is the fatty liver disease that occur to people that are not the alcoholic, but they just discover that they have fatty liver disease. And this is actually caused by this set of fat in the body system. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Um, so even though BMI can be a risk factor for these health conditions to occur, belly fat also plays a large role in this. So basically, there are measurements for waist circumference for men. I think we mentioned this in our last session for men and for women with certain measurements that once a woman with a certain, I think once a woman passes 35 inches around her waist, that poses a risk factor for non-communicable diseases to come into play. Also for men, I think for men it's a little higher.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
basically,
for women, it's less than greater than 88. When it's greater than 88 centimeter, it
Yeah.
increases their waist circumference, it increases their cardiometabolic risk, which is a risk of cardiovascular diseases. While
yeah.
when that of men is higher than 102 centimeter, it also increases their risk of such disease.
So it's a man's world then. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, what risk factors would you say contribute to belly fat? I think earlier Mercy mentioned sedentary lifestyle. Uh, can either of you explain in layman terms, the physiology behind that? If you're not moving your body, fat is being developed within you and it's posing a risk for your health.
Okay, so should I go first?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the ideal thing is that it's supposed to be a balance. So there's supposed to be energy intake, energy, like energy intake, energy expenditure. So there's supposed to be a balance. So when you keep taking in energy, keep taking in calories, and there's nothing, you're not moving, you're not expending any energy, you're not burning any calorie. These things that you've taken in, fat and everything, they tend to sit inside your body because you're expected, the right thing is that you should burn these calories. So when you are just sitting down every time, you're not really doing so much of exercise, so much of physical activity, because there are jobs that actually encourage physical activity. You don't have to basically exercise. Like those jobs actually they are high active jobs. But when you do jobs that are low active and you eat especially calorie dense foods, this, fat, they tend to sit in your body either as subcutaneous fat, either as visceral fat. And before you know it, they result in maybe insulin resistance. Because when there's so much accumulation of fat, it can, because I said it disrupts normal production of hormone. So it disrupts the production of insulin, and that means that your blood levels are constantly on the high side. And this also now encourages fat to just be stored around the abdomen. So that's the main, shall I say, this thing around burning calories, around physical activity. Yeah, and also physical activity also helps you to, build your muscle mass. Yeah, it helps to build muscle mass. It helps to direct fat to different parts of your body, so it's not accumulating at one particular region.
Okay.
I don't know if
Thank you.
Mr. Anu wants to say something. Mr.
Yeah,
Emmanuel.
I think what I will also has to this is she has talked about the sedentary activity, which talks about the long sitting hours, those that do remote work or work from home, or those that work office work that they just get there in the morning, they have their breakfast, they sit down, and there they have their lunch, stay on their seats, they have their
Yeah.
possibly have their brunch or their dinner. So they actually accumulate more fat. And also, even when they are having a sedentary lifestyle, what they consume also matter most. You might have a sedentary lifestyle and what you consume is food that is high in fat. And this actually, don't forget, you've already exposed yourself to something that promotes fat storage, which is sedentary, not being active. And now you are consuming a food that is high in fat. It increases the fat storage in the body system. So this significantly increases abdominal fat accumulation. And I think other factor that also affect this is unhealthy dietary pattern. And when we talk about unhealthy dietary pattern, we have such what we call ultra processed food. And when we have ultra processed food, These are food that have been processed, have passed through industry processing. Food that, like we discussed last week, we made mention of fiber-rich food and low fiber-rich food. So much of the food that has less fiber, actually, some of them are processed food. And when you also we talk about added sugar, especially fructose, pastries, sugary drinks, white bread, uh, this actually generally makes unhealthy dietary pattern, which affects fat storage. Another thing is this kind of diet contribute to insulin resistance in the
Yeah.
body system, and which this encourage fat storage around the abdominal. And another people that also affect is the aging. When you are getting above the age of 50 or 60, in which your metabolic rate is decreasing. I think generally in Nigeria it's 60. When you see people from 55 to 60, when they are reducing their metabolic rates, it's actually added to their fat. The muscle mass starts decreasing and the fat redistribution will start occurring in the body system. Someone that is at young age, the person involve himself in a great activity, but at the age of 55, 60, 70, it's reducing the activity level. Then the fat in the body starts redistribution, which occur. And Messi said earlier, is sleeping, poor sleeping condition, alcohol consumptions, and some certain medication. When a patient is on, so when some people are on certain medication like antidepressants, antipsychotic drugs, this actually increases the fat circulation in the body system. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think when we are telling people to eat foods that are rich in fiber, while we talk about the benefits of fiber, I think it's important that we name what these ultra processed foods are so people can put a name to what they should avoid. So, what foods would you say people should limit in their diet that are detrimental, that can contribute to visceral fat and eventually contribute detrimental to your metabolic health? Mr. Emmanuel, please.
Okay, when we talk about the diet that they have to consume, number one, we don't just talk about the diet, we need to know about the activity level. Then we need to know about the certain condition. Are they in good health? Are they managing the certain disease condition or not? So in knowing this, we can advise them on which food are they to eat. But generally speaking, if we are to reduce the fat content or to prevent this belly fat, you are to reduce the fat content of the food in which you are consuming. Number one, what is the quantity of the fat that you are consuming? The fat you are consuming of what type is the fat you are consuming? Is it from a fat from animal source or a fat from plant source? And what is your activity level? These are what we need to consume. These are what we need to look into before we can recommend any diet and say this is the right diet for you to eat. But most importantly, we need to look at the quantity of the food that we eat. Some people will tell you if they've never eaten anything fried, they've not getting satisfied. Though frying of food as well makes one satisfied, it increases the satiable level of the food that we are eating, but it also has a dangerous effect to our body system when not consumed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mercy, do you want to contribute to that, please?
Okay, so when we refer to ultra processed foods, I think
Sorry, before you go, before
Okay.
you speak, I need you to also speak on. Mr. Manuel spoke about types of fat. Can you lay emphasis on what healthy fats are, the unsaturated fats are the fats that people should eat less of?
Okay, so when we talk about ultra processed food, like I said, I was going to talk about saturated fats. And saturated fats are actually the fats that we often advise people to reduce. We often advise them to purchase more unsaturated fat, which can be found in maybe olive oil. Yeah, palm oil too is good, but it has a more like it has more saturated fat. So even though it has its benefits, in the sense that okay, it has beta carotene and maybe some other things, we want to ensure that okay, because we are talking about how people can create balance and moderation. So if you take saturated fat, it should be less than 2%. I mean, there are maybe higher levels, maybe WHO, I don't know, but I would recommend that you probably don't even take it at all, or you should lessen it. And for me, once you buy something from the market and you cannot explain the ingredients, like you are saying names that you cannot explain, that for me, that is ultra processed. Even when, I mean, we have people that will tell that, okay, don't take carbonated drinks, and you're like, okay, I'm going to take fresh you. I'm going to take this and that. I'm like, those are also processed foods, because when you look at the ingredient list, all those things are sugar, they're added sugars, additives, flavors, color. And so ultra processed foods are just any food that you cannot explain how it was produced. Like you cannot trace how this thing was made. The things that were added to it, you don't understand. Those are ultra processed foods. And they are calorie dense. They're actually the main culprit that causes all this, belly fat and everything. So I would advise that, okay, you go for all foods that are more nutrient dense, that have a nutrient quality other than ultra processed foods. So we have monounsaturated fat. We have polyunsaturated fat and monounsaturated fat. We're talking about unsaturated fat, and it can be found omega-3 fatty acids. It can be found in our fish, salmon. It can be found in the oil, olive oil, canola oil, soya oil. Saturated fats, they're usually found, all these fats that they use in pastries, margarine, butter, they are mostly packed with saturated fat. They are saturated fats. And in fact, actually, saturated fats are actually fats they're mainly animal fats. So you are buying maybe offals, kidney and everything, and those fats that come with them, they're saturated fat. They are mainly, associated with animal fats, animal origin, butter, margarine. They're associated with animal origin. So when we talk about saturated fat, those are the kind of fats that you should take less of, or you should avoid if you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, let me
Thank
also
you so
add that
much.
the way you can know the difference between saturated and unsaturated is that saturated fats are solid at room temperature. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so the main difference is that saturated fats, they are solid at room temperature, while unsaturated fats are, in the liquid form at room temperature. So any fat you are buying and at room temperature, they are already becoming solid. You know that this is not a good fat.
So that would be an indicator for how to buy oil in the market.
Yeah, yes, as well.
Because people say in Nigeria, for example, they sell vegetable oil. For one, I don't know any vegetable that makes oil. I don't know any type of vegetable that you squeeze and oil comes out of it. So it's quite deceptive to the public. And you tell your patient, buy or use a little oil, but you have to lay emphasis on the type of oil that you're using. As you said, palm oil, it's more saturated fat because you know how you have to melt palm oil at times, especially when it's a little cold, before you can get something out of it. That's an example of saturated fat. There are certain oils that are not palm oil, vegetable oil, granite oil, all of that. And it gets a little cold in your house, and you see that they start to
yeah,
clog. at the top congealed. Do you know that that
I
oil
think
is
we even
not
have
something?
we have bleached
Sorry?
palm oil itself. Like we have bleached palm oil, adulterated oil, where maybe they bleach palm oil to make it vegetable oil.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
people buy that in the market as well. So people need to be aware.
People need to be aware. And I guess that's why we are
Well,
having this session that we're having right now, to be able to inform the public to make better eating decisions. Personally, for a lot of my clients, for the people who can afford it, olive oil is what I recommend, because olive oil is right at the top for heart health. And then
yeah.
there's canola oil, but there's now new research about how seed oils can contribute to cholesterol in the body. Just 2 days ago, actually, I saw a write-up that said cholesterol is not the enemy, that the pharma bodies are trying to make it seem cholesterol actually contributes to health. And I'm not sure how that adds up, because it did not add up to me. But basically, also another great contributor to unsaturated fat is avocado. Avocado is high in fiber, is also high in unsaturated fat. So when you're picking your fruits, when you're picking what to lay on your bread, instead of using margarine like you always would,
Yeah.
I'm saying you now because I'm speaking to the public. Think of avocado as a bread spread.
Mhm.
Okay. So what
Yeah,
are
if I'm permitted to add
okay,
to that,
yes, please, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I think there are other fats that we can also consume. Like when Mercy was talking, she made mention of unsaturated fat and polyunsaturated fat. And
Yes.
a part of unsaturated fat, monounsaturated fat, is where we have our olive oil, avocado oil, groundnut oil, or what we call peanut oil, our almond and cashew nut, then Simsi nut. This actually helps to reduce the health condition or the risk factor that causes cardiovascular disease. And there are other one that we can also
Yes.
get, which is also less cheaper than the previous one that we made mention of, which is called polyunsaturated fats. And these are fat that we can get from our fatty fish, like our salmon, our sardine, our mackerel. If we can get that from our flaxseed, our walnuts, the walnut awusa that we eat, then our chai seed, and some like our sunflower oil, soya bean oil, and corn oil. These are what we call our vegetable oil, because our soy flour, we can actually get a good oil there. And this oil makes fats, they make fat soluble vitamin available to the body system, which are vitamin A, vitamin D, K, and E, and they support the brain function. So this actually supports our hormone production, and this fights against what the other ones has caused. And I think Messi made mention of trans fats, the hydrogenated oil, in which what we call adulterated processed oil. And generally, I would say we should run away from excessive saturated foods or fats, our fatty meats, our butter, our palm-based products. And this actually, when we consume much of this, it exposes us to cholesterol. And when this cholesterol, the bad cholesterol is much in the body system, the LDL is high. Sorry, the LDL
Yes.
is high in the body system. Some disease condition will start knocking the door. Thank you.
Thank you so much for mentioning seeds and nuts, because besides contributing healthy fats to the body, they're also high in fiber. So
Yeah.
fiber, as Mr. Emmanuel mentioned earlier, is also a is also great to add to your diet if you're trying to lose belly fat. Now my next question, I find this interesting. Myth busting. So people think um detox teas, detox juices. What are your thoughts on detox teas or detox juices for burning belly fat? Mercy, please.
Okay, so for me, I don't think we need an external detox system for me, because the body already has a detoxifying system, does a detoxifying process. So while those things can maybe, in one sense, maybe have contain for example, I mean, we know that ginger contains anti-inflammatory substances, chemicals. So why those things can, contain anti-inflammatory substances that are healthy, or that can help in to aid the detoxifying process, they are not in their own sense a detox, like they're not detoxifying. They're not, let's say maybe they are helping, maybe they can help the body to, carry out the process, maybe aid the body, combines the free radicals, chase inflammatory chemicals and stuff. But in their own sense, that's not what's going to make the body detoxify itself. Like that's not what's going to make the belly fat go away. And we always talk about, okay, it's not even a one thing, it's not a one process that's going to make your body become normal. It's a number of things, it's a combination of several factors. So there are people that are taking slim tea, taking detoxifying tea, and then they're not doing anything else. They think that alone can solve the situation. They think that alone can take away the belly fat. No, it's not going to. The body already detoxifies. It has a detoxifying mechanism. It's part of the metabolic processes. And while taking ginger, taking, all these, what do they call them now? Ginger shots. While those things can aid the process, they are not, it's not a one-time thing. It's a number of factors. Those things are just part of dietary factors. They are not that's not what's going to, solve the situation. So it's a number of factors. It's what you are eating. And let's even talk about extreme dieting, because these things are like offshoots of extreme dieting. Those things that you do, and they tell you that you can drop 10 kg in a week. Those things are going to do more harm than good, because they're not consistent. As dietitians, we talk about consistency. How can you consistently do this thing? And then even after you've lost weight, how can you maintain this weight? So you drank something now and your belly fat has reduced. So after the belly fat has reduced, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to be doing? So I feel those are the most important things. Yeah, you can take ginger shots and all, but just know that those are not the things that are going to solve the situation. It's a combination of factors: what you are eating, how you are moving your body, how you are sleeping well. So yeah, that's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manuel, do you want to contribute to that?
Oh, okay, I think what I will only add to that, there is no scientific evidence that detoxifying or detoxic tea actually burn fats or cause fat reduction. I think that's, and don't forget, whatsoever has no scientific proof or scientific evidence is not, because belly fat do not just occur. There is a saying in Yoruba that says "Ona tije ono onenu lone orun." That means whatsoever enters into your body system is whatsoever that leads to heaven. So that means if you want to detoxify yourself, you want to reduce the fat content in the body system, what you need to do is to reduce whatsoever that goes into that body system. Most of these detoxifying diet actually, they are diuretics or laxative. And what do diuretic and laxative does in the body system? They increase urination, they increase bowel movement, and cause temporary water loss. And when this is actually not in the right sense with the body system, there is nothing detoxifying. And they actually add another thing to the body. And it's a more problem to the body. It's risky because some of these detoxifying tea or supplements actually contain what is called high caffeine or strong laxative, like I said earlier. And unfortunately, they are unregulated herbal ingredients. That's what I call them, unregulated herbal ingredients. You mix this particular substance with something else, So when this is actually done, you never you never think about the dehydration, the electrolyte imbalance, or the digestion problem that may actually cause in the body system. But the best thing that can make one to have a reduced belly fat is calorie control diets. We talk about adequate sleep, stress management, and reduction in the added sugar or ultra processed food. Thank you.
Uh, I think if those herbal teas that they take and those herbal teas, detox teas, yeah, if they cause frequent bowel movements as laxatives would, that would result in electrolyte loss, wouldn't it? And that being done often can lead to deficiency of some vitamins and minerals. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is when I also talks about the risk that has been attached to that. At least
Yeah.
I've seen a baby less than 12 years that was rushed to the hospital because he was given about drinks. And later it was discovered that she's having renal impairments. We later lost the
At
child.
12. At 12.
We later, yeah, I know, I think Mohammed is 4 years. We later lost the child because the child has always been given about drinks.
Yeah.
And when it was discovered the renal impairment have set in, because the kidney is not that strong enough to filtrate those ingredients in the herbal drinks. And this affected the baby, and we lost the baby. It's a painful thing, but it was caused by the parents.
So, what Mercy said earlier about the body regulates itself. So everything we need to function is within the body. All we have to do rather is eat right. Now, to detoxify the body is not our job. The kidney does that, and the way to support the kidney is not by taking ginger shots every morning. Everything should be done in moderation. If you want ginger to be added to, or if you want antioxidants rather to be added to your diet to do what they're supposed to do within your body, you can add them to things you already eat as opposed to making them
Concentrated. Give it concentrate.
exactly. And now the way you can support your kidney to do what it's supposed to do so that things flow in the natural way is by drinking enough water. Drink enough water, drink as much. Everybody has different there's requirements for how much water you should drink every day. I think 2.5 to 3,000
3 liters.
for we who are adults, at least, not for children. Drink a lot of water. From what we've learned here, you're supposed to be eating right. And your eating right includes eating foods that are rich in fiber because they help with visceral fat loss and also subcutaneous fat loss. Um, Eat healthy sources of fat. Also, you're supposed to be sleeping right. We spoke about how many hours we should be getting, how many hours of sleep we should be getting. But Mercy, how many hours of sleep do you think we should be getting every night as a standard?
Between 6 to 8 hours. Between six to
Right.
eight hours. You get 6 hours of sleep, yeah, every night.
Okay. So sleep 6 to 8 hours every day consistently. Now, would you say, Mr. Emmanuel, would you say targeting your belly for physical activity, like just exercising generally, but also like exercising your midriff section to lose belly fat, do you think it's effective?
I think what's actually effective in losing belly fat is just general body exercise, not exercise particular for one region of the body.
Yeah.
Number one, when you are only doing the stretch to lose your body fat what happens to the other part of the body system? Then you build a muscle in the leg, you build a muscle in the hand, and the stomach looks somehow. Instead of having a perfect figure, the person now look eager or look like something. So to me, it's not a specific exercise that makes you to lose belly fat, but a
Yeah.
general exercise. When you get yourself engaged in a general exercise, it works for the body generally, not for a specific part of the body system.
Do you want to contribute to that?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both cardio exercises and strength training.
Okay.
So you're not doing just one and leaving the other one. Strength training helps to build your muscle mass as well and, shift parts to different areas of your body. But also cardio activities are also very important. Walking, cycling. Yeah, so it's a combination of both. You just don't want to do one and then neglect the other one. Thank you.
Okay. People seem to walk around eggshells with me being a dietitian, and then some things they mention as things they think that cause weight gain or belly fat in their lives would be eating late at night. Do you think eating late at night contributes to belly fat?
Yeah, when we say eating late at night, what is the activity level of such person? What if such person actually mostly active at night and less active in the day? So what defines the time of eating or the quantity of food to eat is the activity level. Someone like say person that is in the office throughout the day and just got home and after eating dinner get back to bed, get on bed and sleep. We can advise such person to reduce the quantity or to increase the time in which the person eats or move the time when the person eats faster. And that is why we always recommend the hospital at least have 2 hours before sleeping after eating.
Yeah.
But what if the person is active throughout the night time? So that's actually play a wonderful time, a wonderful thing that we need to consider to eat, the timing of eating and the activity level. So we cannot just blindly say stop eating at night because of reduction in belly fat. What is the activity level?
Also, I think what is being eaten at night is important to consider. The quality of what is being eaten at night is something to consider too. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say I agree with that,
Yeah,
but also the activity level.
Okay.
Okay, blessing you, Mercy, you can go.
yeah, I was just adding that quantity to matters. Like, so it's not just quality. So you can eat healthy foods and still overeat the healthy food. It will still
Yeah.
cause like weight gain. So I think that's like just as Mr. Emmanuel said, your physical activity level is very important. That's how we know that you are not eating more than you are expending. So I think that's the main culprit. You're not eating more than you're expending. So your physical activity can take charge of what you are eating, even if it's late in the night.
Okay. So
I think that works. I think that's
thank you so much. As a closing takeaway, what two initiatives would you ask people to take? What steps can people take to lose belly fat or let's say maintain their belly fat if it's great?
okay. So number one is prepare yourself. For me, I think most people already set up to fail by once you get to the market, whatever you're buying, whatever you're putting in your trolley, your cart, or your shopping bag, is either setting you up to win or to lose. So if you're saying you want to address your belly fat and what you have in your kitchen are not things that can address it, you're cooking what you have. So there's a book I read that says eliminate the queue and the habits will never start. So it starts by what you have around you, your environment. Your environment. Your environment is very important. Mr. Emmanuel talked about how belly fat can be hereditary. Yes, genetic factors play a very huge role in where fat tends to accumulate in your body, but how much fat accumulates is dependent on you. So your environment is a major factor in addressing this particular issue, your environment, So the first thing is your environment. The second thing is, please, whenever you're buying things from the market, look at the food label, look at the labels, look at the ingredients. Make sure that what you're buying is something that you can relate with. And I'm not a advocate of cut off this thing, cut off this, cut off that. Moderation. Know the things that you should be moderate on, and know the things that you can eat. Even the things you can eat, don't overeat it, because that's the culture now. Once they say there's one superfood somewhere that can reduce belly fat like this, everybody just start buying it and start taking
it. Becomes the trend, yeah.
So everything is moderation. Number one, start with your environment. Make sure your environment is enabling to what you want to do. Here, stop your belly fat. Reduce belly fat. Make sure your environment is enabling. Number two, be intentional. Check the labels on whatever you are buying. Choose more whole foods. Limit ultra-processed foods and refined carbohydrates. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Emmanuel, please, what two initiatives do you think people can adopt to lose belly fat?
Yeah, I think to add to what Messi have said, what is actually needed to act is number one, know yourself. What is your lineage? What is your family history? Am I exposed to this kind of belly fat? And after knowing yourself, you will guide against it. Okay, now I've identified in my family we are prone to this kind of disease. We are prone to this, we are prone to that. Then how did I consult? How did I eat? What kind of food did I eat? And what activity level? If you are actually able to do that, you are good to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to my speakers. I appreciate you guys so much. Now questions from the audience. Daniel, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. First of all, thank you to the Thrive Diet team for this wonderful section. It was really, really impactful. My mom is actually listening to this section and she has gotten a lot of information already. I want
Thank
to
you so much.
ask, thank you. I want to ask, in my society, I see men having pot belly, like very big pot belly. And the usual assumption is that it's caused by excessive intake of alcohol. So I want to know, does alcohol contribute to that, or is there something else also contributing to it? Yes.
So before you joined, that was spoken about, but I'll let Mr. Emmanuel answer that.
Yeah, we'll say alcohol actually have an impact in it. Number one, if you are taking alcohol, what energy or what gram of alcohol is the person consuming? Alcohol we know is it has 9 kilo. If I'm correct, 9 kilocalorie. 1 gram of alcohol has 9 kilocalorie. And now let's look at how many gram of alcohol there is in a bottle. A bottle of alcohol, I think, goes for like maybe like 20 gram or thereabout. Now, if a person or 15 gram, if a person is finishing the per gram of alcohol, now multiply by 9 kilocalorie. Look at the number of energy the person has taken in even without food. And it's 0 calorie, which means zero nutrient, which means only has energy alone. It does not actually add to the body system. And this fat also affects the liver. Now, when we talk about the fatty liver diseases, and that's why you have them having pot belly. And number two, what do they eat? I think we also add that to it, the fat content or whatsoever they eat. A lot of people that eat in buka or what they call the shop by the roadside, they will actually fry their food. They fry their pepper, they fry everything. And once you fry the oil or you process the oil, the nutrient there that not nourish the body has been reduced. So what we have left is unsaturated fats, in which actually added to the fat content we are talking on in the body system. Thank you.
So thank you
Thank
so much,
you
Mr.
so
Emmanuel.
much.
Sorry, Daniel, to add to what he said, I remember something we didn't talk about earlier. So food that is bought by the wayside, like foods that are fried by the roadside, something that happens that people don't think about is those oils are reused a lot. Now, the thing about reusing oils is it contributes to inflammation. Inflammation is responsible for so many things that we end up dealing with in non-communicable and chronic diseases. So generally, buying food outside is not advisable because they don't care about how much oil or salt or bouillon cubes goes into the food. The food just has to taste good. That is important. And you won't go to a place where alcohol is being consumed a lot and they're serving vegetable or they're serving what we would term healthy food. It's foods like nkobi. That's a lot of oil. That's also palm oil, as we have termed saturated fat that contributes to the bad cholesterol in the body. Alcohol is also called empty calories. That is also because it contributes a lot of calories, adding no nutrients to your body at all. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. So the key takeaway for me is that taking alcohol is more like taking any excessive alcohols. You're taking energy and carbs that is not being used as it should be.
Exactly.
I have one more question. I once visited a pharmacy and I got my blood sugar tested, and it was like 100 on the dot. And the pharmacist was already saying that, oh, my blood sugar is high. So I want to know what's like the normal blood sugar level and at what point should it get and someone has to take like drugs to like reduce their blood sugar level. Because I have elderly people with me. Sometimes they are at 100, sometimes it's 120. So at
Yeah.
100, 120, is it advisable for them to take any sugar drug, or is it still okay for them to like go on with that kind of blood sugar level? Yeah.
Mercy, will
Thank
you
you.
take this?
Okay, so your blood sugar level, was it taken when you just finished eating? Because we have procedures before your
Yeah,
blood sugar.
I've actually eaten at that point. Yeah, yeah. I think I've eaten
Okay, so
already.
you get tracking blood glucose. So when you eat, yeah, your blood sugar level spikes.
Yeah.
So those are also factors that can affect your reading. So we have different blood glucose tests. We have the random blood sugar. We have fasting blood sugar. So I don't know, maybe you took the random blood sugar.
That's most likely random, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. So for the random blood sugar test, I'm trying to say what the stuff is. Just Mr. Anu, can you help us with what the cutoff is?
Yeah, for the random blood sugar, it should be less than 180, 160,
Yeah.
160 for the random. And why for the fasting, it depends on your location, like we do say in Nigeria. And actually, it depends if you is 110, go for 110, while some clinic will go for 10, and we go for 100. Because some people will tell you from 100 to 110 is actually pre-diabetes
Yeah.
pre-diabetes. But what is more important is if you are going for fasting blood sugar, your fasting blood sugar you must not eat 8 hours before it early in the morning. And you go for it early in the morning, not when you've engaged yourself in strenuous exercise, not after jogging or doing your daily exercise. And you said you are going to the hospital to check your blood sugar, the fasting blood sugar. Well, most will have started working the body system, and that will affect the reading. Why the random is you can take that at any time of the day after you've eaten and we have what is called 22 hours postprandial, which 2 hours is taken after 2 hours after you've eaten. And once that is above 200, we always tell the person, guy, you are at risk. But we actually don't always depend on fasting blood sugar or blood sugar for to diagnosis of diabetes. The best test to use in diagnosing diabetes is what we call HbA1c. HbA1c actually tells you what is the glucose level in the body system for the past 3 to 6 months. And when it's above 5.6%, yeah, I think 5.6 or 5.8%, that's at risk of developing diabetes or the person is managing diabetes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, you also had another question that was not answered. For the people in your household who, if someone in your household has what is termed a higher blood sugar reading, they don't have to get on drugs immediately. That is why the dietitian and nutritionist exist. So they start by managing what they eat before jumping into medications, unless it is a severe situation,
Yes.
which is rare case, exactly, thank you, which can be diabetic ketoacidosis. Then, the nutrition is what would come into the management field, but then it has to be drugs first. But if it's pre-diabetes, you start by managing what you eat, you manage your lifestyle, so you don't just jump into taking meds.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your questions. Does anyone else have a question? Also, thank you to your mother for being here.
Thank you. I'll make sure she knows. She's actually listening to you right now.
Thank you, Ma, for being here.
All right.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our second episode of Food for Thought by Thrive. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you
Sorry,
to
guys, I have a
Vicky.
question.
Okay.
On my channel.
Hi.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi,
So,
good afternoon.
yeah, I was listening to what Emmanuel was saying about belly fat, eating late at night, and I think he mentioned 2 hours, staying 2 hours before bedtime or lying down also. But what kind of apart from cardio exercise, and slim tea, like what kind of maybe exercise or something that we can do to reduce that belly fat, maybe something like 2 weeks or so steady.
You said to lose in 2 weeks. Oh my God, Emmanuel, I'm so happy you asked this question because first of all, I think you can't. Slim tea is what we are saying you should not be taking. It's not. We're not advising that you take slim tea. You should be avoiding slim tea. What we said was eat foods that are high in fiber, eat fruits, eat vegetables, eat whole food. So instead of eating processed food, think of what are foods that come from the ground, or you can tell where exactly they come from. Like Mercy said, if your food is packaged, say spaghetti, for example, you look at the table of contents, you cannot recognize some things there. That food is processed. Eat God's made food. That's one.
Okay.
Eat in moderation. So you're not supposed to heap your plate. Say a small portion of rice, beans, whatever it is, a portion of vegetable on your plate. Lean protein. Fish is high in omega-3 fatty acids, like Mercy mentioned, or chicken breast, chicken really, or eggs. Just whatever you're eating, don't eat too much of it. Now, when you finish eating, you're eating late at night. Don't lie down immediately you're done eating because you're tired. If you're going to sleep before, you're going to sleep immediately after you eat. Maybe what you're eating should not be high. You shouldn't have high calories. Don't eat too much of it. Eat just a little quantity, and then think reasonably. You can lose. Mr. Emmanuel, please correct me if I'm wrong. 1.5 kg every week.
No, it's 0.5.
0.
Yeah.
You can lose 0.5
0.2 to
kg
0.5 a week.
every 0.5 kg at most every week if you're taking the right steps. If you're doing anything else, if you're losing faster than that, then what you're doing is probably not right and can be detrimental to your health. Does anybody else want to add to that, please?
Okay, I think what I will also add to that is, like Chineke said, what is the kind of food you are consuming? Well,
Okay,
it's not
let's
like you are going to. Okay, okay, can we hear you?
okay. Let me say something like our natural food now, gari, soup, and the rest of it. Once you're eating that, it's usually large quantity or so. Not like large, but the gari will be a little bit okay, medium, something like that. So
Yeah, when
now,
you mean the gari, okay.
no, continue.
Yeah, when you mean the gari and the vegetable, what is the quantity of the vegetable that you are taking with it? I mean, the soup that you are consuming with it, what quantity? And also, what matters is you are sleeping by 10. At least if you want to have your night rest, your dinner should be at most 8 p.m. And you sit down, not that you start jogging around, just for the food to be able to digest. And that is why you will notice whenever we sleep, we eat and we sleep instantly. When you wake up, you go to the restroom. And when you get to the restroom, the food that you consume or yesterday night, you excrete it out and you feel hungry. Why? Because that food was actually not make use by the body system. And that is why it is bad for us it's been advised by dietitian and nutritionists that you are to have at least 2 hours before you sleep so that this food can actually be made use of by the body system being before going to bed. Thank you.
Okay. I think that answers me. Does
I think
anyone have?
you also talked about training exercise. I think you can also just start with walking, maybe attaining 10,000 steps in a day. So
Mercy,
you
this
can
looks like a very active man. I think you can do more than walking.
you can be and work. You can like just make sure that every day you shall attain a particular level of physical activity and do that consecutively for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I don't know the extent of your belly fat. I don't know the extent that you want to reduce in 2 weeks. 0.5 kg to 1 kg in a week is excessive. So you have to give it time. So you have to be consistent and also give it time.
Okay.
Wait,
Thank you.
to add to that about that you're eating at night, um, I would usually advise that people do a feast size, but I'm sure your feast is bigger than mine. So think a tennis ball,
Okay.
like
Okay.
two of that. I'm sure just if you heap your plate with a lot of you heap your soup with a lot of vegetables, you won't be hungry when you're done eating.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for being here. We hope to see you at our next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you so much, Daniel's mom. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.